So as he introduced me nicely, I'm the executive director of the Scala Center. My name is Darja Jovanovic. The full Scala Center is here with us today and some more. So thank you, everyone. Today's aim of the talk would be to really, for the audience, to connect people, the faces on the projects that you're using daily, that we are behind the scenes, to underline the critical importance of the Scala Center as an organization, but also our work as the first among the equal stakeholders in the Scala community and the ecosystem. And finally, to hopefully inspire you to get involved and together with us ensure the longevity and sustainability of Scala itself. So before we go further, I would like to I have two questions for the audience, and this time it's going to be only by the show of hands. So how many of you have heard about the Scala Center already? That's amazing. Okay. And so then the second question is, how many of you are using some of our projects or all of our projects daily? Okay, a bit less. So this is good. I thought it would be the opposite voting. So thank you for your support and knowing who we are already. So now we are going to invite you to choose your own adventure. By the way, did you know you're choosing your own adventure when you were coming here? Some of our speakers didn't know. Okay. So I just want to confirm that. Okay. So how this is going to go? Just let me see, where do I need to go? Okay, so for those who already know something about Scala Center, you're going to get many more details. And for those that know a little bit, you're going to be mind blown. So what we are going to do right now is that we are going to let you choose your own adventure by voting what is it that you would like us to speak about. And then once you get to a point where you choose your first topic, depending on who is responsible for that topic in our team, that person would stand up and give you a short presentation. Hopefully, we would have about 4 to 6 presentations. So this is like a fast lightning talk from our team. I'm going to ask just Jamie to come and launch the Mentimeter. Fine. Perfect. Okay. Wow. No, come on, people. We need more than 5. Everybody votes. Yes? It's up here. Join at Menti code. Yeah, sorry, I was not clear. Okay, stop trolling people. Maybe we should hide results until it's done. Well, then we will decide. Well, actually, I'm going to decide. Fine.
Perhaps the imitant.
Yeah, I mean, I hope everybody votes once. Okay. This is so funny. No, come on. Come on. We thought we were going to have problems. And end scene. Okay, so we thought we were going to have problems with technology or like switching through things. Okay, yeah, we should hide it next time. You know what? Come on. Okay. The next one is going to decide everything between compiler. Okay, faster Scala builds. It's done. Now, within that topic, we need within that topic.
No.
It's.
That is already chosen now. Mm-hmm. Everyone has spoken. Okay.
Everybody's okay.
So, yeah. So yeah. In this area of basically all these were all the options you could have chosen. So in the area of how can we translate ideas, basically your business proposition or your cool hobby at the weekend, whatever. What is the best way that we can translate those ideas into the reliable code that you can actually use every day? And you chose faster builds. That was it, right? Yeah. So I'm going to sort of talk about what's the intention behind a project that we're currently working on, and what's the current status, and then where we're looking forward in the future. So yeah, basically the idea with this is that a lot of people complain about either sort of waiting for SBT builds to finish, or maybe you use incremental compilation, but then sometimes the build doesn't compile enough, so then you actually need to clean, and then you get the whole situation where you need to build the entire project from scratch all over again. So the idea with the project we're working on here is then to make it quicker to do those full clean compile cycles, but also then to reduce the number of times that you actually need to do that fill build. So kind of where we are at the moment is that we have two sort of lines of attack for this. So we have the incremental compilation, which is a process where, when you edit one file, then maybe the compiler only compiles that one file again, and then it sees that, oh, actually 2 files were affected by that change, and it compiles those. The idea with that is that instead of compiling 500 files, then maybe you'll eventually only compile 20 of them. So that's sort of one attack that we have. And basically, we've been working on making it more accurate at detecting the dependencies between different files. So yeah, maybe you inherit from a class, or you use the new type class derivation framework in Scala 3. So then Guillaume at Scala Center added a thing to make it so that we can track where you wanted to get a mirror from. Also, we're working on several things, which is like build pipelining, which is a process where if you have multiple projects in SBT, like you have module A and module B that depends on module A, then with pipelining, we can actually start compiling module B before module A is finished. And I gave a talk at Scala Days June in Seattle, which you can actually see on YouTube. But basically, one of the cool results was that we managed to get 22% faster compilation of LeechS, which is this open source chess engine on the internet, and ScalaDex, which is one of our projects to index the Scala ecosystem. That was also 31% faster when we turned on the pipelining. So that's a pretty cool development, but it's still under development right now. And then we're also investigating parallel compilation, which is where in just one module, you actually, currently the compiler is just in a single thread pipeline, but then maybe there's ways to investigate how to compile several files in parallel. And with experimentation based on work done again by Guillaume, we have had a 34% increase in the speed of compiling the compiler itself. So that was about 500 files, 500,000 lines of code. And so we got it about 20 seconds faster. So that's pretty good. Looking to the future, the idea with the build pipelining is that the majority of the implementation is done. We just need to make sure it has backwards compatibility with the Scala 3.3 series so that we can release it in the LTS line. And also to just make sure it works with macros and stuff like that. The parallel compiler is still like a really, really early stages thing. So we still want to investigate different methods of doing this. So maybe one idea was to do a 2-pass compilation, and then the other one was to do a full parallel thing in one step. But there's different trade-offs to how you implement this. And then for incremental compilation, one of the ideas was maybe we can analyze the bytecode of macro methods, which will then let us track all the dependencies between them. So that was the little overview of what we're doing to make faster Scala builds. And that means we should now go and vote again for, the next topic we're going to talk about is how to build a sustainable future for Scala. So I'm just going to switch to the next slide, I think. Okay. And I'm going to hide it this time. So open up your Mentimeter votes, and let's say we'll have...
Yeah, you need a code again.
You do? Ah.
It's the same.
It's the same. It should be the same. So if you just open the link you had before, it should give you the next question. No, we're not showing the results.
There's instructions in introduction.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. So go here if you've lost the code. I think I'll give another 10 seconds.
Make your decision.
Okay, it's frozen. Let's see. A barrier-free path. Oh, it's me again. Okay. So everyone. Okay. So people are very interested in upgrading to Scala 3 teams, which is cool. Yay. Okay. So let me go back. So yeah. So let's talk a little bit about history. In 2019, we had the release of Scala 2.13. And yeah, the point is that most people, according to the developer survey from last year, and there's another developer survey just released. I don't know where the link is, but we'll have one. Yeah, so the majority of users are still on 2.13. And in 2021, we released Scala 3. And it's kind of been like some libraries are migrated and then some were waiting for specific features. But now we kind of released in May this year Scala 3.3, which is going to be our long-term support line. So that will have maintenance for at least 3 years until the next release will get chosen to be the new LTS line. So why is this a good opportunity to move forward? Is mostly because now we can really fit in a lot of the nice to have features such as better linting options, or like I said, the faster builds from earlier. So it's kind of like a stable point for you to jump to as an application developer. And libraries, of course, will be able to target this. So what is the current status? Basically, we have implemented many things to help you migrate. So like in Scala 2.13, there's this flag TC Reader, which lets you use Scala 3 libraries from Scala 2. And also, if you want to cross-compile your Scala 2.13 code with Scala 3, then we have this xsource 3 flag, which backports a lot of the syntax from Scala 3, but without any sort of changing. It doesn't change the effect of your code. And then we have also, of course, added support for Scala 3 in all the major build tools.
Can zoom in.
Yeah, okay. Okay, hopefully it's more clear for you now. Yeah, so we also, Adrian wrote, at the Scala Center, wrote a very comprehensive migration guide to help you migrate. And, well, there may still be some gaps, so we will be looking for advice on contributions to add to that thing. And we also built a tool called SBT Scala 3 Migrate. It's a SBT plugin that helps you automatically migrate your code from Scala 2.13 to Scala 3 and your SBT build as well. So to talk about that a bit, we have Adrian.
Wow. So yeah, we know that it can be a bit tedious to migrate a build because build files, they grow over time. You add libraries. Some libraries are not so well maintained anymore. So maybe you will need to update, I don't know, the version of every or something, or you use some with Scala C options, and you don't know how to translate that into the Scala 3 Scala C options. So we created this build to assist you during this the migration. It's an SBT plugin. You add it into your project / plugin.sbt file, and then it will bring you those 4 commands to assist you during the migration of your build. So the first command, migrate dependencies, it will just print a report of all the dependencies you have in your project and tell you what you need to do about them. So some of them are valid dependencies that you can continue to use in Scala 3, either because they are Java dependencies and you don't need to do anything about them, or because you are already using versions that are available on Scala 3. But for other libraries, maybe you need to update the version, or you can use them in Scala 3, but using the Scala 2.13 artifacts, because there is compatibility between 2.13 and 3 for some libraries, for the libraries that didn't use macros. It also helps you upgrade the compiler plugins. So for some compiler plugins are integrated now into the Scala 3 compiler, so you can activate them using a flag. And unfortunately, some libraries, if they are not yet migrated to Scala 3, you can't use them. So that could be macro libraries or compiler plugin. So it's also good to use this tool to to know if it's time for you to migrate or not. For those libraries, what you can do is either try to remove them or get in touch with their maintainers and see what's the status of the migration to Scala 3 of those libraries. Then we have the same thing for Scala C options. It's I think, way easier to migrate the Scala C options than the dependencies. I think the dependencies are really the blocking thing. So here, either you can still use them, or you need to rename them, or they are not available anymore and you need to remove them. Then we have two more commands. One that will try to apply some patches to fix the syntax incompatibilities between Scala 2 and Scala 3. Here I'm not talking about the new control and braceless syntax. I'm really talking about the few things that were correct in Scala 2 and that are now deprecated in the syntax, in the Scala 3 syntax. So it will patch that automatically. And once you're done with this migrate syntax, you can run migrate types. And here the plugin will try to compile to Scala 3. And if it cannot compile to Scala 3, it will use the Scala 2 compiler to inject some types into your Scala 3 code to make your code compile. So if everything is fine, at the end of this process of 4 commands, you can compile your build to Scala 3. Jamie, would you like to finish?
So basically the point is that now that 3.3 is kind of released, there's a lot of new libraries that are coming now. So for example, Play has a lot of libraries that are waiting to finally get their stable version with 3.3. But they do have milestone releases right now if you want. You can use Spark with some extra with some extra libraries to help you and with case classes and stuff like that. Of course, a lot of my micro libraries are migrated, but there's still a lot that I still try to migrate. So yeah, it's like they need a contribution boost from the ecosystem. But yeah, basically the good point is that now we have Akka and Peko as well. And on the right, we see a sort of graph of all the projects on Scala Dex that have basically been on Scala 2.12 and then they migrated to 2.13. And then we can also see that some of them have, this is the latest version they have released. So some projects have moved from 2.13 to 3, but then you can also see that there's a lot of brand new projects in Scala 3 as well. So, maybe you don't have to switch, maybe you can switch from one library if they don't release a new one. Anyway, so the idea is that we still in the future need to consolidate the documentation to give you a clear path from Scala 2 to Scala 3, or to, for example, we have like several documentation where we show how to write code in Scala 2.13 and how to show it in Scala 3 at the same time, but we're still trying to finish that. Yeah, and I guess we can always do more to promote Scala 3 at the conferences. But yeah, really it's a push. Like the open source contribution is pretty hard to get the ball rolling. So if you are using a library and you really like it and you're super passionate about it, maybe consider helping them to migrate to Scala 3. So now I'm going to switch the slide again. So I'm going to open up the instructions. But actually, sorry. So the thing we're going to vote on next is like how to make Scala more popular and onboard new users. So does everyone need to see the code again, or is that fine? I'm going to wait for one vote. Next vote wins. Okay. Right. If you're still lost.
It's feel very limited. It's for you, especially. It absolutely works.
I'm going to do another 10 seconds. Okay. Oh, well, it seems everyone really is interested in frictionless first steps for a newcomer, which is my piece again. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So maybe we could do option 2. Okay. Well, people have spoken, so here we go. Okay, so you have chosen how to make Scala more popular and onboard new users. We have chosen frictionless first steps for a newcomer. What did I put here? Okay. I want to zoom in a bit. Okay. So basically, I guess when people are adopting Scala, there's a lot of there seems to be a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt out there about like, is Scala way too complicated to learn? How do we get engineers onto our team? There's too many conflicting ways to do everything. There's so many ways to do effects, whatever. So the idea with this is just we want to make it easier for newcomers to get into Scala and adopt it. Like, it doesn't have to be their first language, or maybe it could be their first language. But we really want to make it show people actually it is not so complicated as some people make out. So we want to do lots of things which like just communicate better. What is Scala? What can you do with it? We want to make it so that someone's newcomer can get on board with just doing everyday tasks quickly without having to discover all these libraries that are possible ways to do things. And we want to communicate to more people, so we're opening up like video series on YouTube or just adding more courses to just try and widen the net for people to learn about Scala. And also, just to make the day-to-day life easier so that the first steps when you begin with Scala are not having to learn loads of build tools and editors. You just compile the code. So what are we doing currently? Well, there's 3 pieces to the puzzle. Let's say, so one thing I've been working on is to make the front page of the Scala website more simple and readable. So it's had a little bit of transformation over the year, but now currently, for example, we have a little taste of what you could do with Scala, and then you can run the code in the playground. And then, oh look, here's a nice counter made with laminar, so you can get a little taste of how to use laminar. And then also we've added in sort of the use cases. So you can use Scala on the server, or you can do your data processing with Spark and notebooks, or you can write command line applications, or use Scala.js to make amazing front ends that are type safe. So basically we're trying to inform people more when they first go to Scala, like, what is it? What can you do with it? The next thing we worked on is basically it's still a process. What we want to do is when you first go to Scala and you go on the documentation, currently the website is very sort of spread across many different guides and tutorials, and you have to do a lot of clicking to find what you want. So what we want to do is basically consolidate a lot of these guides into more structured hierarchical content that makes it simpler to navigate and gives you a clearer set of first steps to do. And then basically we have the Let's Talk About Scala 3 video series, which is on YouTube. It's hosted on the GBO Functional YouTube channel. And what we do there is maybe introduce one feature of Scala 3, or how to use the debugger in Scala 3, or how to set up a project, or basically communicate a small topic in about 15 minutes and make it really clear and informative. One of the videos is, for example, if you go to the Scala 3 book and then you see main methods. We have one video here that explains, this was done by Julien, who used to be with Scala Center. But it's like, here's the new main method in Scala. What can you do with it? How can you program simple scripts that take advantage of this feature? So in the future, what we want to do is, just complete that migration of the documentation. And now that we have the new Scala command, which is based on Scala CLI, when that is released in when that gets released in package managers and becomes like the Scala command, then we need to update basically the get started guide to make it based on Scala CLI, so that it's no need to set up build tools, whatever. You just add dependencies and go. We would also like to add testimonials to the homepage, just so that people have more trust in Scala. Oh wow! Okay. And just basically that's good start. Okay. Just so we want to make Scasty more, so Scasty lets you run snippets, and that would be really cool if we could get runnable snippets in the documentation, and also to get Scala decks more used. Anyway, so the next topic we're going to talk about is how to govern the thriving community. So I don't know, I'll just show the votes. Okay, so it seems we have bring together tooling authors to collaborate seems the most popular option. So give a welcome to Chris Gibb.
All right, tooling collaboration. So bringing together tooling authors to collaborate. The goal is pretty self-explanatory, seeing that that's literally what the title of it is. But the idea would be to bring everybody together in hopes to reduce the amount of duplication around the ecosystem. For those of you that are aware of how things have worked in the past with tooling, you'll have noticed that there's many different tools across the ecosystem that re-implement many different things. And we are somewhat of a small community of people, so the more that we can deduplicate those efforts, the better. Hopefully, we also have advanced warnings of changes that will happen to make migration for tools easier. So as new changes come in new versions of Scala 3 or new things happening, everybody's sort of on the same page about what changes are happening, so that if something new comes out, maybe if you're an IntelliJ user, you get automatic support for it right away when you get it, or some other tool. We also like to align the goals and strategies of what needs to be tackled to make Scala better for both the experienced Scala users and then also newcomers as well. Sometimes with tooling, it's a little bit hard because you have a bunch of people that are working on tooling and they're in the nitty-gritty of it, so they look at it very differently than what a newcomer looks at it when they're using tooling. So the idea is to, again, make things that are easy for new people that are getting started, but then also make very difficult things possible for more advanced users. The current status of that. One thing I would love to talk about, especially since we had this yesterday, was that there has been multiple Scala tooling summits. Back in March, which is what you see a picture of here at EPFL in Lausanne, we had a tooling summit. It was the first one that we had since pre-COVID. And there was 40 some people that got together from literally all around the world, came together and discussed all sorts of topics that we planned ahead of time just to make sure that everybody was on the same page. And we tackled new ideas, and we even had things that we've accomplished since then. We also had one on Tuesday here in Madrid at a university downtown, where again, we had 40 some people that came together from all around the world to just work on tooling together, to discuss some of the topics that we've been going over, and to give updates that we had since last time. Apart from that, we've also had regular meetings from representatives from companies that are working in tooling, from community orgs, and then even members from the compiler team, again, in hopes to make sure that everybody's on the same page, people know what's happening with the compiler. So hopefully when new things come out in the language, that the tooling is ready to tackle them right away, and vice versa, when some tools are maybe coming up with a new idea, how can other tools reutilize those same things so we don't have to redo the same things over and over and over again. The future. So the future is that this idea of this tooling group or committee that we've been having is that we would like to sort of formalize that. We have, if you're familiar with it, a SIP process, which is the Scala improvement process. We would love to have some sort of formal tooling group that is similar to that. This group would be in charge of organizing these regular meetings, organizing the summits, and then also collaborating with other Scala, I guess. I just completely, but what I meant to say here was collaborating with other Scala groups just like this. If you're familiar with, for example, like the Rust Foundation, just ignore all the nonsense about the Rust Foundation lately. But if you look at the good parts of it, you notice that they have, a language committee, they have a tooling committee, they have a community committee, they have a lot of different committees that are in charge of different parts of the community. There's negative things about that, but at the same time, there's also some positives about it because it's very clear what group is in charge of what things. Then it's also a lot of those groups have individuals that represent that interest to the larger Rust community or Rust Foundation. We would love to have something similar to that in Scala, where in the future maybe we do have a tooling committee that has a representative from the tooling committee that then is going to the SIP committee that represents tooling interests and things like that. So the hope would be that as we take steps towards formalizing this tooling committee, that again it just makes it clear who's responsible for certain things. Make sure communication across the board is aligned, and making sure that we're not redoing things over and over and over again for different people. We'd also love to improve the tooling communication to the community, then also provide ways of collecting information from the community. There are some ways that exist for this, and I think maybe a good example of this, it would be like code coverage if you follow like the contributors forum at all recently. But there were complaints about, why does nobody care about this, or what's going on with code coverage? And the hopes would be that we provide more avenues for people in the community that have concerns about tooling or that have questions about tooling to put those to the right people that know how to answer those questions quickly or know how to assign resources to get these things fixed, and just provide another outlet for the community to make their voices heard too.
How many contributions to the Scala ecosystem?
Yeah, thank you, Jamie. Hello, everyone. My name is Anatoly. I'm with the Scala Center, and I'm currently involved in the community projects. So fostering harmonious contribution to the Scala ecosystem. What is this? Well, it's a direction that Scala Center takes in hopes and with the aim to achieve a healthy, thriving, welcoming community that everyone is happy to participate in. We need, with these projects, we ensure that newcomers have a well-defined path to participate in the ecosystem. So no matter if you're a beginner Scala programmer or if you're a beginner in programming in general, we have projects that help you to get onboarded. And we constantly engage more newcomers to participate. So here are some of the examples of the projects that we do, our flagship projects. Two of them are represented during the Scala Days. were represented and are represented. Yeah. So first, it is the Scala Spree, which is aimed at Scala programmers who would like to participate in the open source projects. So Scala Spree is a hackathon that brings together open source authors and contributors to hack together in one afternoon on their open source projects. It is happening co-located with this iteration of Scala Days. So on Friday, 15th of September, at 1 o'clock, you should have it in the blog post that was also shared on the Scala Center, on the Scala blog, the address and the coordinates. Another project that we aim for a slightly different target audience is Scala Bridge. So this one is for complete beginners in programming, and it aims to spark interest with them to start programming. So this one happened 2 days ago, also co-located with Scala Days, and it welcomes people who never programmed before. Another thing that we do to engage the community is a Google Summer of Code. It's been a long tradition for the Scala Center to organize a Google Summer of Code project for the past 10 years with some breaks because of COVID, but recently we resumed it. So every year we welcome a couple of students to go through this program to participate in some flagship projects of the Scala ecosystem. And this year we welcomed about 5 or 6 students that currently work on the projects. And by the way, another important project that is not listed here, but it is worth mentioning. It is also moderation and governance we do around the events like the Scala Days. We have developed the code of conduct, and we constantly work on the frameworks of healthy participation for all the for various communities that we have. So we are talking about the membership agreement that we have recently redesigned for companies who join our advisory board. And of course, code of conduct is enforced on all the official Scala Center events that we lead and we organize. So what are the next steps for us? Well, Scala Center is committed to keeping doing the initiatives that it is currently performing, the ones that I named. Depending on the resource availability, we are going to increase the amount of events that we do. So, for example, more meetups we are going to organize in various cities. We could do that, but that depends on the fundraising campaigns that we are currently doing. That has already been communicated to you. Better community with moderation programs. So the community work is still a work in progress, but we are working to ensure more and more that the community is welcoming, friendly, and everyone is happy participating in it. And finally, it's good to finish this slide with a call to action. So contribute to the Scala ecosystem yourself. So if you're using a library yourself, maybe there is a bug in this library that you would like to get fixed. So it's a good idea to try fixing it yourself. You will do a great service to people who maintain that library, and you will get a chance to get involved in this library. And here you see a QR code to a great talk by Seth Tishu about how to be a great Scala contributor. He's here in the audience, by the way. So it's a great talk that details how to get started with this, because sometimes it's not very obvious how you can get started. So please scan it and watch the great talk to give some context at how to get started with this. Great, so I give the word back to Darja to finish the presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anatoly. Okay, this was not what I wanted to do. We're going up and up and up. Thank you, Anatoly. Thank you, everyone. So, I mean, I don't know how not to get emotional. No, it's okay. I need it like this. I don't know how not to get emotional. I'm so proud of this team. And I would like to invite the team on the stage, because one of the goals was to put the faces on the projects, and also to hopefully share with everyone in the audience that there are so many projects. We just touched upon a couple that we do. So there are so many projects, and it's a vast area that we are covering. I'm just now zooming in and out again. And even for this presentation, we needed to scope things that we could speak about. So I hope that everybody got at least the impression of the amount of things that we are covering with like not such a big team. And at Scala Center, this is mostly technical team. Anatoly just converted recently into community person. And even in this team, we have 2 people that are not from the Scala Center. They're from Virtus Lab and Lunatech, and they are contributing members. As contributing members, they are giving us their precious time. So I hope that's at least one of the things that you got out of this talk. I hope also you got inspired to continue contributing or start contributing. I also hope that you see that we are quite accessible. You can contact us or, our emails are online. There's a Scala Center email and so on and so forth. But first and foremost, I would like to invite you to talk to us now, today. We have the booth. And now, during lunchtime, we have a special event where Martin Dersky is going to be at our booth signing the books. So if you have your book that you came with, he will sign it gladly for you. And if you don't, we have some books on our booth that we are currently giving as for exchange for a donation, because we are looking to fundraise a 10K, hopefully by the end of this year, for the Organizer Summit. So what we were doing with the Tooling Summit, we are hoping to now jumpstart the Organizing Summit and get organizers all together to unite and make even more community events and conferences such as Scala Days. So I thank you all very much for your attention. We hope to see you at the booth, and I hope you're enjoying the Scala Days. This is the first one after 4 years. I know we are, so see you at the booth, and bon appétit! Voilà!